Hi there. Welcome to Dedham Street. I'm Al. I'm here to do a quick little review of the new Depeche Mode album, Memento Mori. It's their first album since 2017, the first album since the passing of founding member Andy Fletcher, and the first album of theirs as a duo with just Dave Gahan and Martin Gore as the only remaining members. Um, I personally have been a Depeche Mode fan for 30 some odd years, give or take, a long time. And I was looking forward to this album as I am all the Depeche Mode albums. But in the recent years, the last couple have been a little okay. So let's find out how this one fared. Um, so our first track is Cosmos is Mine, which I think is a okay song. I thought it was kind of an odd album opener. So slow burner, a little bit of a table setter maybe. I would go on with a little bit more of a upbeat song, but it's not bad. Um, Wagging Tongue is the next track. It kind of gives off a little bit of a Broken Frame era feel. This guy right there, 1982 is the Broken Frame. So this is a cool retro synth pop track that I thought was pretty damn good. Number third track on the album is the lead single from the album called Ghosts Again. And I have to say, I love this song. It really is a classic Depeche Mode song, and by far, not only their best single, but I think it's their best song in about 25 years or so. And not to say that all the stuff that they've done since then is bad, it's not, but I'm just saying that this is that good. That's how I feel about it. I personally think that you could take this song and just drop it right in the middle of the Violator album, and you would not know the difference. You would think that this song belonged on that album. So I think that's pretty impressive. What I also thought was kind of cool about the track is that it's co-written by Richard Butler from Psychedelic Furs. Um, Upon first listen, you don't ever. I didn't know that, so I didn't put two and two together. Listening to it after knowing that, I thought it was kind of interesting because now I'm hearing the like classic phrasings and rhymes, uh, Butlerisms in the song that I thought were kind of cool that he was even able to kind of get those in. Even with Dave singing it, you're actually still hearing it, so that's kind of neat. Martin's little guitar work in here, that there's little tasty licks that he throws in there every once in a while with his effects and stuff. Really good. And the lyrics on here are excellent. Little, somber, melancholy, Depeche Mode, what they do. But it really is a great track. I loved it. Another standout track is My Favorite Stranger. Another dark, moody track, mid-tempo. Nice, real nice harmonies between Dave and Martin here. The intertwining of the vocals and um, the threading of the vocals here, really nice. And they took a lot of time to make that happen, and it shows. And it definitely has a music for the masses kind of feel to it. I'll come back to this later, but there's kind of like a theme running through this album, I feel anyway. Soul with Me is the obligatory Martin Gore ballad. However, this one's a little different than any of the other ones he's done in the past. This one has kind of a R&B type feel to it in the verses, and then in the chorus has this interesting little Mark Bolan type feel to it. So on the surface, that sounds a little weird, but if you go back and listen to some of the earlier T-Rex stuff, there's a lot of that, R&B type influence in there. And I thought it was kind of cool for Martin. Hearing Martin's voice over top of something like that was very interesting. I enjoyed it. Caroline's Monkey is another Richard Butler co-write. Good, straight to the point song. I love that these songs here are that great 3.5 minute to 4 minute sweet spot. Great pop song length. For my old brain, it's great to not have to concentrate sometimes. Sometimes I just love to hear a nice 3 to 4 minute pop song. And this album has a ton of them on there. Very well done. Back to the Richard Butler co-write again on this is kind of funny because if you're a Psychedelic Furs fan, you'll notice that the name Caroline pops up often. And I don't know whether this is like a person that he knows or if it's just a character that he comes back to time and time again. But I thought that was kind of neat that he was able to slip that in there in his little co-write. Another standout track is People Are Good. It's got that great Martin Gore sarcasm bite to it in the lyrics. Kind of reminds me in that way of kind of like New Dress from Black Celebration. And it's, even though it's got that sarcasm and that bite, it still has a great jumping rhythm to it. Very cool. Always You is another track I wanted to point out because I'm going to take a minute to talk about Dave's vocals. I mean, I know Dave Gahan doesn't really, in circles, isn't like known as the greatest singer. I personally like him a lot. He doesn't have the greatest range. Or let me rephrase that. He doesn't have a large range. He's great at what he does. He's a baritone. He's always been that way. And I've seen Depeche Mode at least 4 times live, and he's great every time. I mean, even in like the songs at Faith and Devotion or where he was all locked up, he was still really, really good and put on a great show and didn't miss notes. Dave Gahan does not miss notes live. He just doesn't. And I think that he needs to get credit for that. Now, in the song, Always You, he has a great performance on here. He has a little bit of a falsetto thing that he pops up there in the chorus and comes back down. I think it makes the whole song very good. Never Let Me Go is another one. Has a little bit of a question of time, little pumping rhythm to it. Real quick, in and out song. Not much else to talk about, but I really enjoyed it. But my second favorite song on here, after Ghosts Again, I think is the closer called Speak to Me. I think this is a great album closer. I think it's a great song. I think it's interesting that the lyrics have like a farewell feel to it. I don't know whether this is like the last hurrah. Now, I was watching some interviews with Dave, promotional interviews with the album, and it seems like it took a little bit of coercion to get Dave on board this time from Martin, to go into another album tour cycle, because there's a lot of work. Maybe just wasn't up for it, but once they got in the studio, they were obviously inspired. And Dave's fingerprints are all over this album also. He's got quite a few co-writes on here, which in the past, Depeche Mode fans know songwriting was Martin's department, performing it was Dave's department. Now they both have their hands in the writing, which is cool. And but back to the point, if this is their last album, I think it's a hell of a high note to go out on, especially for a band that's in 40 plus years in. Bands who are out that long, as we all know, are not all putting out quality music like this. This is a quality album. You could put this in and mix it in with their classic era. It's just really good. But I wanted to revisit this point because I talked about it earlier. There is a funny little journey through the past with Depeche Mode kind of feel to the album. I'm not sure whether this has to do with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, It had them feeling a little bit, they were like reflecting more on their history, on where they got, what got them to this point. Or if maybe it was just the passing of Andy, it had them feeling a little bit more nostalgic. And I don't know, but I just feel I'm hearing it all over the album. You know, Black Celebration, Music for the Masses, Violator, Broken Frame. I hear it all, even in all over the album, and it doesn't sound like a rehash. It still sounds fresh, which is hard to do without sounding um, totally retro. But they pull it off. I give the album a 7.5 out of 10, uh, which means I'm definitely going to come back to it. And even after listening to it a couple times for the review, I've come back to listen to it just for myself, just to listen to, like I used to with all the old Depeche Mode albums, which is great. It's great to have that again. But I'm going to be coming back to it again because I'm going to be doing a Depeche Mode ranking of the albums coming up in the next few days. So come back for that, which will be fun because some of these Depeche Mode albums I haven't listened to in a long time, and I'm interested to come back and listen to those ones from, you know, post 2000 again, because I'm not super familiar with all them, because upon a couple of listens it didn't really stick with me. We'll see, maybe that changes. So um, if you like what you're watching, give us a like, hit the notifications button, visit us on Facebook. The Instagram page is coming. And let us know what you think in the comments. What do you think about the album? I'd love to know. Until then, see you later for the Depeche Mode album rankings, and a lot more content coming up in the next few weeks. See ya.